We have really strong radar signatures here showing really heavy rain moving through parts here of Lancaster County and spreading all the way into southeastern Union County, Anson, and even into southern parts here of Stanley County. So let's talk about the strongest part of the storm here. This is approaching the Polkton area, now moving toward Wadesboro. Now this has had a history of producing at least some really high cloud tops that could indicate some small pea-sized hail, if not even a little bit bigger than that, probably between a pea and a quarter size. So definitely be aware of that. This could impact, of course, cars, outdoor windows, things of that nature. Heaviest rain right now, again, moving toward Anson County here, toward the Wadesboro area. If you're thinking Highway 109 in areas west, we're kind of hugging that line here. Now, heaviest rain, of course, right here again between Polkton and Wadesboro. So this has moved into Anson County. When we look at cloud tops, this indicates how tall the storm cloud is. When we get cold air or there's always cold air, that is, at the upper levels of the atmosphere. So as the storm grows, once it gets to that point, really when it's about 25,000 feet or higher, this is where we can start to tap into some of that colder air, and that eventually is what will cause hail. We start to see hail forming, and then once the updraft gets too strong, it of course will eventually fall, and then that's when we get hail on the ground. There's been a pretty weak signature overall, but a hail signature nonetheless from pretty much all the way towards southern Lancaster County through Pageland, and now all the way moving with that storm again right between Polkton and Wadesboro. Hail is small, but even small hail can cause some issues. Now, when we're talking about how long the storm is expected to last, I would say the next 30 minutes or so if you're actively seeing storm activity, because we still have some rain on the back end. But because these areas will stabilize, that rain will be a little bit less intense. But Covington, we're talking just after 7 o'clock, of course, toward Norman by about 7:15, Troy very shortly after. So this storm very quickly racing off to the north and east, pushing toward Anson County, eventually likely clipping some southern parts of Stanley County as well, and then it's out of here very quickly. A second storm we have right now is just south of Statesville and near the Troutman area, pushing through downtown Troutman right now. You can see some heavy rain there just to the north and east of this town there, right over the I-77 corridor, now eventually pushing off toward the north and east. Now, a wider view here, this is not what's actively happening, but these are storm reports from the storms over the past few hours. You can see a few isolated wind gust reports, one there in southern Stanley County, one way over toward Richmond, and one there up in Beach Mountain. Now, if you are looking at this and saying, well, I had damage at my house and I don't see it on there, that's probably because no one has reported it. There's a few ways that you can do so. You can send it to us using the Near Me function in the WCNC Charlotte mobile app, include any cross streets, any kind of information that we would need to let the National Weather Service know, and they'll look at radar signatures and see if it's something worth checking out. You can also send it to your emergency management team and they can pass that along to the National Weather Service, or you can send it to the NWS directly. Probably the easiest is to us and we can pass it along, but to each their own, of course, and totally your choice. We still will have a few storms lingering in our eastern communities through the 11 and midnight hour, but really quickly overnight, we start to see some complete drying out. A little bit of rain on the backside here of the system in the mountains could provide a few light snowflakes heading into tomorrow morning. Brief chance of some patchy drizzle with a few more clouds Monday morning, but by the afternoon, abundant sunshine returns, but temperatures are going to cool off. We won't be too cold tonight, only dropping to the upper 40s, but tomorrow afternoon, we're only in the 60s. Now, even though the storms, with the exception of those I just told you about, have largely ended, wind gusts are still rocking and rolling, even for areas not actively seeing storms. Of course, the storms are south and east of Charlotte, but you can see our latest wind gusts still close to 30 miles an hour. As those winds die down, this is what will allow for temperatures to drop off overnight. Now, just because of positioning of the low, who sees clouds and who doesn't, pretty drastic difference across our area. Lows in the mountains will be in the 30s, very close to the freezing mark, upper 40s in the Charlotte metro. But if you're down south near places like Sherrod, Rockingham, and even further east toward Raleigh, Fayetteville, those areas not going to cool off too much at all. Tomorrow, of course, is St. Patrick's Day. If you're out and about celebrating or just enjoying a Monday here in the Queen City, again, we'll start in the upper 40s. We'll drop to we'll rise to about the mid 50s by lunchtime, and then temperatures will top off near 62. Now, compared to our temperature today in the mid 70s, 62 is a lot cooler. But that's actually closer to where we should be for this time of the year. So here's your Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. Again, tomorrow, St. Patrick's Day, beautiful day, much cooler though. We rebound quickly with temperatures back in the 70s by Tuesday, Wednesday. A slight drop off in temps again with our next chance of rain on Thursday, which also happens to be the spring equinox.